These dogs need a lot of care before they can be adopted. You can sponsor a reef until November 27th. That's next Monday. It costs $15, but loved ones say the reef is worth so much more than cash. It helps remember and honor those who sacrificed so much to keep us free. Because this organization fights for veterans and fights for what they deserve. They're investigating the Mountainside Pet Rescue here. Right now, the pet rescue is operating as normal. I spoke with a student who was on the bus when it overturned. He said he was shaken up, but thankful to be okay. Well, Kim's Crypt Haunted Mill attracts people from all across Pennsylvania and even out of state. And as you can see, it's pretty creepy. Well, Evan, authorities tell me they were able to track him down and pull him over here. Conestoga Valley School District was able to raise $8,000 for victims of Hurricane Harvey in just one day. Anyone who is responding to overdose calls is strongly recommended by the DEA to be wearing protective equipment. His name is Wiznay, but they call him Wiz because he's swift on his feet, and he took some bad news and made sure that his teammates are safe when they're out here skating. Solar bees causing quite a bit of buzz for 911 dispatchers in York County. That's because people are calling them, reporting a turned over boat. And let me actually take you over to the sinkhole that's closed down part of the parking lot here. When you hop into a pool like this, you're sharing the water and potentially all the germs that could be in there. I'm about to dump a 5-pound golden trout into the Armstrong Creek right here. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that won't kill it, right? And the answer is no. This is the perfect soil to begin growing some of your crops because it's dried out and it breaks apart in your hands. Mom and Dad looked out the window one day and they noticed Junior sitting outside the garage. He was playing the drums on empty paint cans, buckets, and hubcaps. That's where he started. And this is where he is now. If VGTs get legalized, owners here at Brew To Go say you will find 5 of them instead of the bottle shop because it's more profitable than selling 6-packs and singles.
A threat made against an annual parade in Adams County.
Yeah, that threat has prompted local police to call on state police and the FBI for help to secure the event. Fox 43's Grace Griffaton joining us now live from Gettysburg, where the parade was slated to take place this Saturday. Grace?
Well, Allie, the threat was made in a letter sent to the Gettysburg Times. The newspaper contacted authorities, and authorities contacted the FBI, who are now calling it a credible threat. Police here and the borough are working to make sure that everybody has a safe parade this weekend. The annual Gettysburg Remembrance Day parade brings thousands into Adams County to commemorate the bloodiest battle in American history. This year, a serious threat looms over the weekend-long festivities and parade.
The Gettysburg Times, our local newspaper, received a letter in which there were some threats.
An anonymous letter threatening the festivities scheduled for Saturday afternoon.
The Gettysburg Times notified us about it rather than print it. And thank God, through their cooperation and their sense of dedication to the borough, we were able to get out in front of this.
Borough police now partnering with state police and the FBI, who deemed the threat credible, to keep the 3,000 or so attendees safe.
We cannot do anything but take it seriously.
Securing the parade route.
As a result of the threat, we felt necessary to secure the route a little more than we have in the past.
Much of the procession will be on Baltimore Street, and officials say there will be more than 50 officers on standby. Police also discourage bringing certain items to the parade.
As you know, from Boston and other places, those who perpetrate these acts do it in various ways, backpacks, coolers. We're asking people not to bring those to the parade.
It's not the first threat made towards an event in Gettysburg. Police citing recent demonstrations by the activist group Antifa. However, they say it is the most serious, urging people to stay vigilant.
If you see something, say something.
We've done everything we could possibly do to try to ensure the safety and a feeling of safety in our citizens and our visitors.
Police would like to thank the Gettysburg Times for their cooperation in this investigation. And again, the big takeaway here is if you see anything out of the ordinary this weekend, say something to authorities. We're live in Gettysburg, Adams County. Grace Griffaton, Fox 43 News.
Officials with York College say an art exhibit on the campus may be too disturbing for the eye of the public. The Rewind exhibit is currently on display at the college, and only a select audience is being allowed to view it. Fox 43's Grace Griffaton live at York College with why the public at this point is barred from the exhibit.
Well, Evan, inside Wolf Hall here at York College, students say the exhibit initially takes their breath away. Now, the only people who can view the artwork currently are students and those people who schedule an appointment. The exhibit described as shocking. The artist says it's a history lesson. Ku Klux Klan figurines in ornate robes and other artifacts.
It was definitely the first initial wow.
Well, at first people are like, why is there KKK full-on mannequins in our school?
It's currently on display in Wolf Hall, but only for students and those who schedule an appointment. According to school officials, it may be too provocative for the public.
They should let everyone see it because it is a controversial thing, and it's a different way to look at it, and it opens your mind and it opens a conversation.
Paul Rucker crafted it. The artwork tells the story of our country's painful past.
It's actually a really great exhibit, and it's not racist in any way. The artist is black. That wasn't his intention to be racist. It was more just to bring awareness to the issues in our country.
He designed it to start a dialogue about social injustice. Students continuing that conversation on campus.
It makes you go quiet at first, but then after the fact, after we left, all the students, we were just talking about it.
They crave a place to talk about these things right now. As adults, it's our duty to give them outlets and places to express themselves and to talk about these things.
York College released this statement regarding the limited viewing of the exhibit. The images, while powerful, are very provocative and potentially disturbing to some. This is especially the case without the benefit of an understanding of the intended educational context of the exhibit. Rucker says his exhibit is about learning.
I'm not going to draw people in with bloody pieces. That'll be juvenile, immature, and I think sex and violence are easy to sell. And I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to instill knowledge. I'm trying to be a catalyst of conversation.
Rucker tells me he almost withdrew the exhibit from campus, but says that would be doing a disservice to history. He tells me he's received nothing but love from the students here, and the exhibit will be open until October 21st. We're live in Spring Garden Township, York County. Grace Griffaton, Fox 43 News.
I decided that throughout my deployments overseas, that I would come back home and here in Glen Rock, and I would pay tribute to service members that have either lost their lives or just serve through our military.
And you can hear taps coming from Navy Lieutenant Commander Joshua Corney's speaker system at his home on Glen Avenue in Glen Rock, York County. Neighbors Sid McWilliams and her husband Chaz listen from their door every night at 8. Chaz has Alzheimer's and says the tune is a reminder of his time when he served in the Navy.
Well, I was in the Navy for 4 years, and we had taps every night at 8 o'clock.
Right.
So it means a good deal to me because of that experience that I had in life.
In the neighborhood, walking door to door, it was hard to find a neighbor without a connection to the military. A main reason Joan Fox, who lives down the road, supports taps.
Well, I really do enjoy hearing it. Number one, it tells me it's 8 o'clock at night. And number two, my husband was career military. We spent 36 years with the Army, moving around the world. And it's just kind of part of my traditional on-base life. It's natural for me to hear it.
There might be an issue, though. It's unclear if Corney's tribute violates a Glen Rock ordinance, which prohibits loud music that could annoy neighbors. Corney sits on Borough Council where it was to be discussed.
There's a whirlwind out there on social media with regard to taps that is not going to be on the agenda.
The council president says the topic was pulled for safety concerns for those who oppose the performance. Victoria Ribeiro, another council member, sent Fox 43 this statement in part on behalf of those neighbors. Quote, because of the huge, largely negative reaction they witnessed and because of the backlash directed at me for representing them, they are horrified and want nothing more than for this all to stop. They genuinely fear they will be labeled as the un-American, bitter troublemakers that started a feud with their neighbors, and that's unfair. They don't want to be those people who killed taps in Glen Rock. With tears in his eyes, Corney says he won't give up.
I made a promise to God that if he brought me home safely to my family, that I would do something in remembrance of those that have died specifically, but also to those that are continuing to serve.
Sights lined up, good trigger pull.
Safety issue. We have so many people that come in and they say, I want to buy a firearm. It becomes apparent immediately that they really need to know how to handle that gun.
To combat potential safety issue the Yanks say they see, they offer NRA certified firearm classes to the community.
We will sell a class first and then sell the handgun. And when we do our classes, that gives them the opportunity to learn everything there is to learn about it, not just how to hold it.
It's not McDonald's. Service is not guaranteed. If the sale doesn't seem right, feel right, we don't have to do it.
And since I never held a gun, let alone shot one, I had the opportunity to take part in the education and take a shot or two at the gun range.
There you go.
The classes cost $125 and take about 5 hours to complete, including range time.
Try several. They get to know how to take it apart to clean it safely. They know how to load, unload, what their ammo should look like.
The Yanks believe the classes really help understand how to safely use a gun.
They will come in here, in some cases, shaking because they've never handled a firearm.
The Yanks welcome all levels, but see one group of people visit the range the most. Who would you say is your biggest audience of people who come in here?
Women.
That's incredible.
No, it's what it should be.
And one woman was there learning today.
It's a little nerve-wracking at first, but I like the fact that it's indoors so I'm not distracted by other things outside.
For $20 an hour, you can rent one of the 10 indoor lanes with your own firearm or rent at an additional cost one of the guns offered and perfect your shot. Or just learn how to. In Lebanon County, Grace Griffaton, Fox 43 News.
Sitting in a blind or a tree stand is a therapy that is very hard to explain. Nobody else can give it to me.
Scott Nikkei is a retired Marine who served in Afghanistan. He suffers from PTSD, multiple traumatic brain injuries, a broken hand, and has issues just getting around. Hunting is his form of therapy.
It's hunt camp. There's still camaraderie in it, but it's also something different when every one of you has been in the military.
Nikkei's able to do what he loves, harvest deer, because of leak hunting and mountain preserve. I spent an entire day with the organization in Oswego, Pennsylvania, learning how hunting heals our wounded veterans.
To go out and to be on a hunt with other veterans, that's the bottom line. That's the experience.
It's an early start to the day. There's morning prayer and a big breakfast. Then it's time for the veterans to gear up.
I need a vest. Where's the vest at?
Dressed in camo and neon orange, the veterans are ready to go. They're each allowed to shoot one doe with their muzzle loaders. Vehicles are loaded. I'm assigned with Nikkei and a leak guide, Ken Martin. He's a Vietnam War veteran. We hop in the car and drive to private land where we'll hunt, spotting deer before we even get to the blind.
There's two more right there.
I've never hunted before, so I'm not sure what to expect. Whispers between the vets tell me I should be quiet too.
We're good to go here anytime, Scott.
Once 7 a.m. hits, Nikkei's allowed to shoot. Martin just has to give the okay. As the sun rises, we see multiple doe. Nikkei swears he can make a 200-yard shot, but Martin says to wait.
There's another one. It's bigger.
7:24 a.m. and there's a deer looking right at us.
Take her.
It's 25 minutes into the first morning sit. One of these veterans was able to get a doe from less than 50 yards away. A great catch so early in this adventure.
All right, let's go find her.
Nikkei's happy to have a harvest. Pictures with the doe, another prayer to bless the catch, and it's time to go back to camp for lunch.
At home, I don't have so many vet friends, so I can come here and I can release, so to speak. These guys speak my language.
Mike Geib is a Gulf War veteran from Carlisle. Hunting helps him deal with PTSD and Gulf War syndrome.
I'm closest to God. I'm closest to nature. I love being in the woods. That's my best mental therapy.
Many of the veterans tell me the transition from military to normal life is hard. Add mental and physical disabilities, it can be extremely difficult.
This helps the PTSD the most, my going hunting, whether it's here or anywhere else.
Some of them say it's too expensive to go hunting on their own, but Leak makes it possible, sponsoring vets and paying for the trip.
They all have things in common in their service to country, their sacrifice, in their injuries that they have.
Some of them inside have been blown out of the back of the truck or been blown up inside a vehicle.
So many people think freedom is free, and it is not free. And if you came to Leak, you would see the scars that our soldiers carry.
Neke says each time he hunts, his battle scars begin to disappear.
For some people that deal with the anxiety of being constantly hyper vigilant and having that constant process of fear, people are able to let that down a little bit. And to let it down a little bit is to gain a good step towards being able to let go of it.
Many veterans at Leak tell me they'll never be normal. They say they have to find a new normal. Hunting and being surrounded by fellow warriors helps do that. With every laugh, story, and shot, recovery begins. In Oswego, Potter County, Grace Griffaton, Fox 43 News. Touchdown and score.
It's 6 points for the team, and it's also money for charity.
Cedar Cliff's Bobby Whalen and Trinity's Tommy Kirchhoff are best friends and quarterbacks who put the football in the end zone in hopes of giving someone a new beginning.
I had the idea to do touchdowns for ALS, and I was just going to do it alone and see how much money I could raise alone.
Running 100 yards for more than just points, for a cause, and a cure for ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, Bobby's idea.
I was thinking, and I thought Tommy, I was doing it for him and for his family, so I would definitely want him to be a part of it.
My best friend came to me and told me about it, and we don't want anyone else to go through what we went through.
The two do so in honor of Kirchhoff's father, Tom, who passed away from ALS, a former Cedar Cliff player.
First thing I did was tweet it out, and the money just started flying in.
Bobby says Tom was like a second dad to him. Both quarterbacks wear the number 14 in his honor.
It's an honor for us to wear it. It's my dad's number.
He's my brother. He's not really a friend. He's always been there for me. I've always been there for him.
Hitting $50,000 quickly, the two soon realized they needed to aim higher.
For me, it was like reaching for the stars, like it's slim to impossible, but it was like the first week we were there, and I was like, well, I guess we should raise it to 100 now.
They hope to raise $100,000 for Project ALS. Donations are made through Pledge It, where supporters vow to give money every time either players score.
If you pledge the We Will Win for ALS, you're pledging for every touchdown that Tommy or Bobby personally score throughout the season. And the best way to learn more is to go to pledgeit.org/We Will Win.
I'm Grace Griffaton for High School Football Frenzy.
When you're away for 21 days and you have no access to a phone, you have very little access to electricity, you really just learn what's important in life.
Hope Roten's the disaster relief manager for the Red Cross of Central Pennsylvania. And for nearly 3 weeks, it was her job to provide hope to people in Puerto Rico with other volunteers from the United States. Now she says it's her duty to remind people how the island continues to struggle.
We need to make sure that instead of focusing on the downed trees and the downed power lines, that we remember that there are hundreds of thousands and millions of people who are living on the island and they're isolated, and that they don't have life-sustaining resources that they need.
Hope says after volunteering there, she's renewed her faith in humanity.
Every place we went, it wasn't, oh, here comes the Red Cross, they're gonna serve us. They jumped in line. They helped us unload the truck. They helped us identify neighbors that were in need.
She says it's important people don't focus on the pictures of devastation, rather the survivors of Hurricane Maria and its aftermath.
At the end of the day, it's not about the destruction, it's about the people living through the destruction.
Sharing with me photos of her experience, a beautiful sunset, trucks of oranges the Red Cross gave out to neighbors, and her teammates who were like family during those 3 weeks.
Has your life changed?
Forever, definitely forever changed, for sure. Because the things I've seen and the people I've met, and I like to think that I'll be a much better version of myself now because of that.
In Harrisburg, Grace Griffaton, Fox 43 News.